Well, everybody, it seems that Ernie Hudson's clapping back at people who are trying to get him to go full SJW. And I gotta say, it's refreshing to see an actor who is pushing against these racially divisive narratives. So, welcome back, everybody. It's your buddy Orange Hat here to bring you another video on Hollywood. I know it's been a while since I did a video last, and I'm going to try to get more content out, but the content has to be interesting enough in order to get out. And just lately, there hasn't been much interesting things. But this is a nice positive one, where Ghostbusters star Ernie Hudson rejects the idea that being black led to his reduced role in the first film. Says it's very tempting sometimes to blame anything that doesn't work in your life on racism, but it's not quite that simple. So let's get into this. This is from Bounding into Comics. Shout out to you guys. In offering the latest counter to Hollywood's incessant need to blame literally every problem on some form of bigotry, Ghostbusters franchise star Ernie Hudson says that not only does he disagree with the idea that his being black led to his reduced role in the first film, but that leaping to blame anything that doesn't work in your life on racism is nothing but unproductive. That is very true, you know. So, for context, a quick trip down memory lane. Originally, as confirmed by Ghostbusters co-creator Dan Aykroyd, the role of Winston Zeddemore was originally intended to go to comedian Eddie Murphy. However, thanks to schedule conflicts related to his work at Beverly Hills Cop, Murphy ultimately had to decline the offer. As such, the role would eventually go to Hudson. But despite the fact that the character was seemingly intended for a celebrity as big as Murphy, as fans who have seen the final cut of the film can attest, he is barely even a presence in the first Ghostbusters, having easily the least amount of screen time by far, the core team, and even being noticeably absent from the film's domestic and international release posters. So, I'm a big fan of Ghostbusters. You know what happened with the character of Winston? He didn't come in until half the movie was over because half the movie was past because he was looking for a steady job. They needed the help. And, well, he wasn't exactly one of the scientists, he wasn't exactly a scientist, you know? At least not in the case of how the other three were scientists. So, yes, he wasn't a part of the core team, and that's not a bad thing. It just means that he was there to help a group that needed the help, and therefore he stepped up and became something greater than most people can't or could. So, yeah. Let's get that, or go further. And according to Hudson, this dissonance is due to the fact that at the very last second, the film's production studio, Columbia Pictures, decided to reduce his role in order to give co-star Bill Murray more screen time. When I originally got the script, the character of Winston was amazing, and I thought it would be career-changing. He recalled to Entertainment Weekly back in 2014. The character came in right at the very beginning of the movie and had an elaborate background. He was an Air Force major, a demolitions guy. It was great. In light of finding both the character and the potential change for recognition to be appealing, Hudson said that when the Ghostbusters team came in at only half of my quote, because they said the role was going to make my career rather than rejecting the offer, he said to my agent, "I don't care, just take it. Because I believe that." Unfortunately, despite having agreed to his reduced rate under the assumption that he would have played the original version of Zeddemore, the actor noted that the night before filming begins, however, I get this new script and it was shocking. The character was gone. Instead of coming in at the very beginning of the movie, like page 8, the character comes in on page 68 after the Ghostbusters were established. His elaborate background was all gone, replaced by me walking in and saying, if there's a steady paycheck in it, I'll believe anything you say. So that was pretty devastating. Yeah, that does kind of sound shitty. I panicked, Hudson elaborated. I don't sleep that night, and it was like my worst nightmare is happening. The next morning, I rushed to the set and plead my case, and director Ivan Reitman basically says the studio felt that they had Bill Murray, so they wanted to give him more stuff to do. I go, okay, I understand that, but can I even be there when they're established? And of course, he said, no, there's nothing to do about it. It was kind of awkward, and it became sort of an elephant in the room. I see this differently now, and I don't mean any kind of animosity or anything towards anyone, certainly not towards Ivan or the guys. Then he assured the outlet, I was a single dad, and we were struggling to kind of hold on and pay the rent. I still needed to do this job. 30 years later, I look back at the movie, and it works very well the way it is. I think the character works with what he has to work with. But I've always felt like, man, if I could have played that original character. Now, that's obviously very common, folks. People always have regrets about what could have been. And it was in reference to this debacle that when pressed by the actors, Louis Chilton, following the premiere of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, as to whether he thought racism played a crucial part in the shrinking of both his role in the film and his paycheck, Hudson sought to make it clear that he found that entire line of argument to be entirely reductive. You know, being a person of African descent anywhere in the world, we're all just learning how to live together and get along together and realize that we're all connected. And it's very tempting sometimes to blame anything that doesn't work in your life on racism. But there are a lot of things that play into it. It's not quite that simple. We can say it's a racial thing, but I think Eddie Murphy had played the role I played, he would have been paid very well. I think studios are in the business of making money, and they pay what they feel they have to. It had nothing to do, so basically, folks, it had nothing to do with race. It had everything to do with conserving money and also making financial decisions that they felt would be best for this company. It had nothing to do with his race. It's not saying we're reducing your role because you're black. No, it's we're reducing your role because the studio wants Bill Murray to have a little bit more time in it. The fact that Winston is black and Bill Murray is white is simply a matter of coincidence, and absolutely had no bearing on the decisions. People often love to conflate to racism, folks, but the fact that such things like coincidences can exist, hence there being a word for it, coincidence, it makes, or people gotta realize that two things can be true at once. There's absolutely no bearing in the conversation that the person was black or a person of color, and the studio wanted to do something else, and so unfortunately those two things coincide, and sometimes, a lot of the time, people will take it the wrong way. We can say it's a racial thing, or no, wait. And that's the end of the article. So yeah, I mean, I respect Ernie Hudson even more now. I think that the man has a lot of wisdom in this. He acknowledges that it's tempting to go there, but honestly, he saw what it was, or he saw the matter for what it was, and he knew it had absolutely nothing to do with him being black. It had everything to do with the studio wanted to change it up a little bit, and it just so happened that it unfortunately resulted in sacrificing the original version of his character and making the movie in a different way, in which, honestly, I wish we had seen the original. I wish we could go to some alternate universe and see the original vision of it, because you never know which would be better. Me, I think that the first movie is iconic. It is so freaking great. And having Winston come in along or a little later in the film shows that the person came in for a steady paycheck, but also managed to help these guys in a way that worked. He helped provide a little more, not so much street level, but a practicality, because you're dealing with three guys who are geniuses, and Winston Zeddemore doesn't come in as a genius. He comes in as a guy just looking for a job. What do they call him? Blue collar. And he provides a little bit more of a grounded role. And sometimes you need that when you're dealing with people, or three people whose IQs cause their heads to smoke because of ideas and whatnot. I mean, yes, Bill Murray's character Venkman is an asshole, but he's also still a genius. He's just a very manipulative genius, and an asshole. I think I already said that. But yeah, folks, that is going to be the video. I truly do love the Ghostbusters movies. I even did a review for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and you know what? I liked it. I just felt there could have been a little bit more differences to it, and it would have been even better. Unfortunately, not all movies are meant to be as good as their predecessors. But anyway, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this video, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. What did you think, or what do you think of Ernie Hudson's comments here, saying that it's very easy to blame things on racism, but it's not that simple? Leave all your comments down below. I'm still trying to get to 2,000 subs before the year's out, so if you can help me out with that, that would be great. This has been Orange Hat, folks. You all have a wonderful day, and always remember to stay humble. Take care.